third day in a week, Ontario's cases dip below 3,000.
The next step, which is safe opening of outdoor spaces, and then look into schools. And then we need to breathe and wait and see what's happening.
And while the numbers may be cause for some cautious optimism, experts warn there are risks of a fourth wave if cities reopen prematurely. Plus,
my medication can't be delivered now because they can't come in the building because of the outbreak.
An apartment building in Hamilton is the scene of a COVID outbreak that has left at least 75 people infected and many more looking for answers. And
we hope the time will be right sometime soon. I think
the theater industry can't wait to get back on stage. We'll take a look into their plans.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Good evening, I'm Marivel Tarouk. The numbers seem to be headed in the right direction. For a third day this week, new infections in Ontario have dipped below the 3,000 mark. ICU cases are also falling, and the province is expanding its pharmacy vaccination program. All that has some wondering when things could reopen. The CBC's Lorenda Redekop has the story.
They're getting ready for reopening, though it's still unknown when it could happen. Eventually, restaurant patios will be inside those orange pylons. The earliest possible date is May 20th, if Ontario's stay-at-home order is lifted.
As soon as the province flips the switch, the patios can just set up and get going.
Increasing vaccinations is one way to get to that point. Some pharmacies in hotspots in 7 different health regions are now open for vaccinations for anyone 18 and up, offering either Pfizer or Moderna. Unlike the initial pharmacy pilot project for AstraZeneca, which was criticized for having many locations in wealthier neighborhoods while ignoring harder-hit Northwest Toronto, these pharmacies are in communities with the most cases.
And our hope is that we will continue to rapidly expand it, add more in hotspots, and then eventually to the entire province.
Rapid tests are seen as another part of the solution. The Ontario government says it's shipped more than 750,000 kits to chambers of commerce that will then distribute to businesses. But experts urge caution.
That's human nature. We try everything as a quick fix. So rapid tests can be the quick fix, vaccinations can be the quick fix. The reality is nothing is a quick fix.
Dr. Peter Uni says opening too quickly would be a real danger, with more transmissible variants and many people only partially vaccinated.
The next step, which is safe opening of outdoor spaces, and then look into schools. And then we need to breathe and wait and see what's happening.
One provincial health official suggested waiting may be the plan.
I would be surprised if things open up at the end of May. They may open partially. Certainly, we don't want to open prematurely and end up with a fourth wave. That is the last thing we need.
Another likely factor as the province weighs whether or not to reopen on May 20th is that it's just days before a long weekend, and cases often climb after people get together on holidays. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, as Lorenda mentioned, the City of Toronto is building patios, getting ready for Cafe TO. But they're not ready to open up just yet. Restaurants are waiting for the provincial stay-at-home order to be lifted to officially kick off patio season.
We're holding steady as best we can. Obviously, times aren't amazing by any stretch of the imagination. And so the hope of Cafe TO brings some renewed energy and some renewed positivity to the street.
Cafe TO was created to help restaurants and bars create more space for outdoor dining that allows for physical distancing. The city says it has already approved more than 1,100 curb lane and sidewalk cafe spaces. The Ossington BIA says setting up the patio space is kind of like Tetris, taking into account all businesses in the area. She adds that until these patios can open up, takeout options are always available. A desperate plea for help at one residential building in Hamilton. The building is the site of the first outbreak declared at an apartment building in that city. Now tenants are demanding the city and property management do more to help. Dahlia Ashry explains their situation.
A cry for help on Friday afternoon from tenants living at this 17-story apartment
apartment building in Hamilton.
This is our rights now. We want to get safety. We want to not catch the virus.
A COVID-19 outbreak at Rebecca Towers has infected 75 people, including staff. 7 more since yesterday, and 1 person has died. Deborah O'Neill has been living in the building for 10 years. Along with the other tenants, they are left worried and feeling helpless.
I am scared. I have MS. I have, my medication can't be delivered now because they can't come in the building because of the outbreak.
In a city council meeting on Wednesday, the city's chief medical officer of health said investigations showed the virus was spread because of the tenants and said the building is well looked after.
Some caring of one another and as well as some socialization that goes on in that particular building that unfortunately did lead to the spread.
But the Rebecca Towers Tenant Committee says that's not true. They've sent a letter to property management with a list of demands and concerns. The group says there's only been 1 operational elevator in the building since January, and common areas aren't regularly cleaned. In a statement, Medallion Properties says elevator work at the building was essential and couldn't be avoided, and expect the work to be concluded by the end of this month. It goes on to say any criticism of the cleanliness of the building or disparagement of our ongoing management efforts are without merit. But today, Public Health tells CBC News they are working with property management to ensure infection prevention and control measures continue. Saying in a statement, health measures include designated cleaners coming in daily to support environmental cleaning. The cases at the building date back to March, and the outbreak was declared over a month later.
And I don't understand why this building is not on a hotspot. I should be able to get vaccinations.
Hamilton Public Health says it has also notified residents that this weekend anyone 40 years and up can go to a nearby vaccine clinic, which is offering walk-in appointments. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
The Jamaican Canadian Association is hosting a COVID-19 vaccine pop-up clinic for the African and Caribbean communities this weekend.
Morning, and actually, so we started at 10, but the lineup began at 7 a.m. So we had a really strong start.
Organizers say this pop-up clinic is important because of the high case rates and vaccine hesitancy in their communities. They say they're trying to bridge that gap by making the event more welcoming. That includes having food and music on site.
It means that we take leadership on addressing the concerns in our own communities and supporting people through their decisions, because all we want is for people to be safe in the end and to provide them with the information so they could make the best informed decisions for themselves.
The clinic will run again tomorrow from 10 to 6. Vaccines are available for anyone in the Black, African, and Caribbean communities over the age of 18. The City of Toronto is taking a stand against the skyrocketing price of construction materials, particularly lumber.
It is frustrating from clients. Clients don't necessarily ever look at those numbers. So when you're trying to tell them things have gone up, people go, okay, what have they gone up, 10, 15%? And you're like, no, they've gone up 300 to 400%. And people kind of think that you're making these numbers up.
City Councillor Paul Ainsley describes the surging prices as a growing threat to the city's economy. He tabled a motion calling on Toronto's city manager to ask the provincial and federal governments to take action to ease costs. The motion received preliminary approval by City Council yesterday. According to StatsCan, the price of lumber increased by 68% over the past year, and the demand for construction also rose. The fear is that combination will result in an untenable rise in housing costs or the devastation of the local construction industry. Ontario's Ministry of Natural Resources told us the price increase was caused in part by the shutdown of some Ontario mills last spring. The ministry did not say if any policy changes were being considered to slow the growth. 2 people are dead following a single vehicle crash in Mississauga earlier this morning. Peel Regional Police responded to reports of a crash at Burnhamthorpe Road and Promontory Crescent shortly after 7:15.
We arrived and there was one vehicle involved. It was on fire. Mississauga Fire was able to put that fire out. At this point, what we do know is there was a vehicle that was traveling westbound on Burnhamthorpe Road West, and at some point it left the roadway and hit a pole. When we arrived, we also have 2 people that were associated with that vehicle who were pronounced deceased on scene.
Police have not released details about the victims or what may have led to the crash. Burnhamthorpe Road between Mississauga Road and the Credit Woodlands were closed for several hours while police conducted an investigation. They're asking anyone who may have information or dash cam video to please get in touch. It's time now for a look at your weather for this Mother's Day weekend, and Sophia is here for that. Today, she is out on the road.
Well, Maribel, I am here in Midtown Burlington in the Tansley Woods neighborhood where, you know what, it hasn't been an absolutely awful day. We've had to dodge a few showers like some of you around the GTA have had, but others have had the pop-up thunderstorms roll through over the last couple hours, some hail, some graupel as well. But I actually found a bit of an early Mother's Day present here. Have a look. We actually have trillions growing here in this forest. Of course, Ontario's provincial flower, and I'm told that here they popped up about a week or 2 earlier, probably because of that really nice stretch of early warmth that we had this spring. Now, going forward this weekend, I wish I could gift Mom with the gift of warmth this Mother's Day, but we're firmly rooted still in these April-like temperatures. Into the evening, the chance of showers and a pop-up rumble of thunder continues. It gets cold and cloudy into the overnight period. Temperatures will be hovering right around the freezing mark. So cold, in fact, that there are frost advisories back out for a wide swath of those of you in southern Ontario. So bring in any of those frost-sensitive plants. It'll be about 4 or 5 degrees on Sunday morning when you wake up to make Mom that breakfast in bed. You'll have a little bit of sunshine to brighten her day. Maybe take her for a nice Mother's Day walk with a hot tea. We warm with clouds to 12 for your Sunday afternoon, and the chance of showers increases into your Sunday evening. Coming up in the long range, I'll tell you more about when you can actually plant some of those Mother's Day flowers that you've gotten this weekend.
India breaks another COVID-19 daily record, the tragedy now affecting the country's children. That story coming up. India has recorded its highest single-day number of COVID-19 deaths, almost 4,200 people. And it comes with scientists convinced the country's real death toll is far higher than the official statistics indicate. As Lindsay Duncombe reports, grief, anger, and uncertainty are overwhelming the world's most populous nation.
Varanasi is a city where the rituals of death are part of life. Many choose to die here, to have their ashes scattered in the Ganges. But ritual now is upended. One crematorium worker estimates a new ambulance arrives every 5 or 10 minutes.
It's a very bad situation right now. And every household is facing this. I don't think there's any family that has been spared.
Another heartbreaking development. Children orphaned by the pandemic. Save the Children India has been bombarded with calls about youth in distress.
It began with a dozen or so about 2 weeks ago to now it goes into 3 figures easily each day, more than 100.
He says for every child helped, there are likely 10 more left on their own, vulnerable to traffickers. As grief compounds, anger grows. Video posted on social media shows family members hitting and punching medical staff in an ICU unit after their relative died.
You have to need doctors to supply the oxygen to the patient. If you'll hit them, then who will take care of your patient?
International aid continues to pour in. Germany is in the process of transferring a massive plant to the country which will manufacture much needed oxygen. And a Canadian military plane landed in India today, delivering 50 ventilators and pallets of the drug remdesivir, which is used to treat cases of severe COVID, although the World Health Organization has questioned its effectiveness. There are growing calls for more to be done.
We can think about just ourselves, but we are not an island. No country is an island in this world.
As devastating as the stories and the images the world is seeing are, they are just part of the crisis. The pandemic's toll in remote rural areas is not fully known and likely more dire. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Washington.
The ongoing surge has ignited a call to action by a group of experts and volunteers from around the world, including here in this province. Dr. Ananya Banerjee is a volunteer in Toronto with an international organization called India COVID SOS. Together, they've been working to create at-home care tips in 12 different languages. She spoke to CBC about the challenge not only of getting the right information out, but in a variety of languages.
When it comes to health promotion and health education in India, it's a very vast population with respect to literacy and various different languages. And so this tip sheet is essentially first was offered in English, and quickly, through our team members, who are also multilingual and healthcare professionals, we were able to translate them within a matter of days into various languages. We made sure that lay people reviewed all the tip sheets to make sure it was readable, accessible. And as I said, it's so important. And we're now also going to the point we're actually translating them into different dialects. So for example, for myself, whose family is from Calcutta and is Bengali, the language is actually a little bit different, for example, from Bengalis who live in Bangladesh. And we have translated this to make sure that the dialect that's spoken in Bangladesh can be widely distributed there as well.
Okay. Welcome back. As more people get vaccinated, live performance companies are planning their returns to the stage. Jessica Ng speaks with those behind the curtain as they prepare for their most unusual season yet.
Timothy Findley is an actor who became a novelist.
John Karastamatis is the marketing director for Mirvish Productions.
Interesting. Music producer.
Yeah. He's educating enthusiastic theatre goers outside the Princess of Wales Theatre. In a typical pre-pandemic year, Mirvish runs over 20 shows with a draw of about 2 million people.
Can you tell me what we have planned for the upcoming season?
If only we knew. We had a season lined up before the pandemic hit, which we have not been able to fulfill. So that will be the first thing we will.
He says plans to reopen shows have changed several times, including an attempt to open a show limited to 50 people in the audience. But in the last year, they, like many other organizations, have injected a lot of energy and time into their online presence. No need to go out or worry with doubt. Much like Canadian Stage.
A total reframe.
Artistic director Brendan Healy says in lieu of Shakespeare in the Park, they will be opening up the High Park Amphitheatre space to more than 20 other arts companies.
Our entire sector right now is really suffering. And so it just felt really important that we, in an act of solidarity, open up this amazing asset to other organizations.
Audience members will be required to wear masks, and actors and crew will have their temperature screened regularly. They're also working on a physically distanced live show.
I think it actually opens up possibilities. You know, what necessity is the mother of invention, and artists are unbelievably adaptable.
Those behind the Stratford Festival say over 1 million unique visitors have checked out videos of their performances on Stratfest at Home, their online video platform.
This summer, we're going to be seeing 6 productions that are socially distanced and outdoors, as well as 5 cabarets with singing.
Audience members will be seated, and crew will be rigorously checked with COVID-19 rapid tests. But the pandemic hasn't just been an opportunity for established theater companies to pivot their strategies. It's also been a chance for artistic rebirth. Just ask Toronto playwright Nick Green, who turned an idea he posted on Facebook into a year-long showcase of the arts.
I'm excited about what artists are learning during this time. You know, we're all learning about resiliency and working in a place of pain, but we're also learning about the potential of online development and exhibition.
As for when other stages could be set, Mirvish consults a team of doctors who say it's not quite time to raise their curtain.
The cliche is we're all in this together, and that is true. We are all in this together.
Theater makers agree that concept is exactly what will keep theater thriving long after the pandemic. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
Sophia is back with a look at your forecast, which looks a little chillier than normal.
Well, a below seasonal weekend is what is written down in the Mother's Day cards. Hello again, Maribel. It's a little chillier now around the dinner hour with an east wind. I'm back here at the Tansley Woods neighborhood, but if you layer up, it's really not a bad day to come out and enjoy a social distance walk or two, no matter where you are around the GTA. And if you like this, it is more of the same really until the end of May. And here's why. We've got this big upper level trough and all the cold air settling in above us in this dip in the jet stream. You'll reach 12 for your Mother's Day Sunday. A few breaks of sunshine, though, to warm Mom's Day to brighten up her day. More of a chance of showers increases into the afternoon and evening, especially along the Hamilton, Niagara, or Erie shorelines with a system that's just going to graze us to the south. For your Monday, mix of sun and cloud, and the shower chance returns again in the afternoon. More of the same for Tuesday, except we will struggle to hit the double digits. Mid-teens, though, for Wednesday, and more of a sunshine chance. We're watching the potential for more showers into the weekend, and then the weekend maybe a return to seasonal, which will be really nice. And until then, until we see you next weekend, Maribel, I'm wishing you and all of our viewers who are celebrating or commemorating or remembering a really happy, early, and warm early Mother's Day.
Thanks, Sophia. Back at you too. Debris from a Chinese rocket is expected to fall back to Earth sometime this weekend. The Chinese rocket blasted off on April 29th, China expects most of it will burn up on re-entry and that it's unlikely to cause any harm. Predicting its exact path, though, is difficult. The mission delivered an unmanned module containing the eventual living quarters for a permanent Chinese space station. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. Before we go, though, we want you to meet a viral sensation from Windsor, and that would be Cookie the rabbit. He hopped his way to viral fame thanks to his skateboarding skills. His owner says Cookie is an extremely active rabbit, you think? And he's always looking for an excuse to play outside. Well, if you play outside too, on a skateboard or not, take care out there and make sure you stay safe, everyone. Once again, happy Mother's Day.